everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we gotta do some work on the other 1970 GMC in order to get it prepared for the truck gathering, just in case we don't get the 1-ton done in time. And I've definitely got a downfall coming with that one because tires are a big issue. They definitely need to be replaced because there's one in the back that's not even close to being having any treads left. And the rest of them are probably, you know, as old as the truck. What we gotta do to this one is we got a headlight upgrade. The company AUXITO sent me some light bulbs to try out. So my first sponsor, pretty cool. But we gotta do that. We have to pull the carb off of it and rebuild it as well because it's still leaking and it's still running really rich. So, and it ran perfect when I first put it on there, but something happened between then and now, and yeah, now it's starting to, well, for one, it's leaking, and two, it's running real rich. So, gotta do that. So we're pulling that off as well, and doing some new lighting upgrades. So let's go ahead and get into it. What are we gonna do to upgrade the already upgraded headlights? So these are the original headlights that came off of this truck. So these are the sealed beam headlights that originally had on this truck. And as you can see, they're kind of dull. They light up a little bit, but I'll show you a comparison here a little bit later. You'll have to go back in time a little bit because I took some video of it last night. But so that's what it originally looked like on this one. Now this is what it looks like now. And these are H4 conversion from Octane Lighting. Got them off of Amazon. Originally, I found them for the Firebird. And they're the same, well, they're not the same. These are a little bit different. These ones actually designed to look exactly like originals. I thought I was buying those again, but these are a little bit different. But that's all right. Wasn't going for originality on this truck. But as you can see, those are super bright. But now as you see, compared to the next, or to the original, it's kind of hard to see on the light, but you'll see it when I do the comparison at night. But definitely a difference. You see how those are kind of yellowish? These are white. So this is definitely a big improvement. How many of you out there are just like me and driving at night, having a hard time seeing, especially on these backcountry roads? It could be because you have headlights like this. They're old, worn out, kind of yellowish, don't really light up the countryside very well. And as you can see, it really doesn't light up much, especially for driving at night. And well, that's where this week's sponsor comes into play. So we're gonna switch it out to some AUXITO A1 Ultra light bulbs. These are LEDs and these are super bright. To just get a better idea of the difference, so this is original, and that is the new AUXITO LED headlights. You can see the difference in how bright they are. And here's some comparison as well. You can see the difference here between original, some H4 super whites, and the AUXITO LEDs. So if you're anything like me and you like to drive at night, but you want to be able to see, go over to auxito.com and you can enter code OGRE15 and get a 15% discount on their products. They don't have just lighting. They have tire inflators, they have battery jump starters. So go over and check out what they have. Lighting is a big thing. And you got off-road lights, lights that fit stock vehicles. So if you want to see better at night, go check out auxito.com and enter code OGRE15 for a 15% discount. So how can we possibly improve that even more? I'm going to tell you right now. I had a company reach out to me. It's called AUXITO, and I've used these guys in the past, and I'll show you here in a minute exactly what I'm talking about. But we're going to upgrade to LED bulbs now. And wait till you see the comparison. Here's one set of bulbs I bought, and this was supposed to be for the Camaro, but ended up being the wrong ones. But that was on me. It's actually the right ones for the high beam, but not for the low beam. But anyway, so that's that one. So if you're wondering if I'm a fan of AUXITO lighting, there's the rest of the lights. So like I said, I've got AUXITO lighting on the Firebird. I've got it on the Silverado out there. I put it on the Camaro as well that I sold. And the other place I have them is on, I actually have some on this truck too for the gauge lighting. As you can see how bright those are when they're lit up. I'll compare those to the originals here in a minute. So yeah, I'm already a fan. So when they reached out to me and wanted to sponsor a video, I was stoked because for one, it's my very first sponsor. And two, it's a brand I've used and really like. So now the next thing we gotta do is get these installed in here so we can see the difference. So I was telling you about the lighting that's already in, the housings that are in here. It is from Octane Lighting. Like I said, I got them off of Amazon. I got the super white bulbs in there, which is you can see kind of the blue tinge on them. And they're bright, but we can go brighter. And wait, like I said, we're gonna really light up the countryside here once we get these things on. So I wanted to show you the difference in the lighting for the dashes on this. You can barely even tell they're on. See them kind of go off. Let me turn the high beam off. But you see a little bit right there and you watch it go off, see? So see the difference? And that's turned all the way up, just like the other one. We're doing the dark now so you can really see the difference. So there's the originals. And those are the AUXITO LEDs. What a difference. And it really makes a difference at night. Actually, you can see the difference between the original lighting on the tack and what we have for the original gauges. So that's pretty cool. All right, so there's nothing left to do except for get them installed. We remove the outer rings so we can get to the inner rings. Man, I need to get glasses because I can't see nothing. These are really tiny screws, so you want me to show you, keep track of those. And trying to get your finger stuck. Get a light. There it is. All right, so that just comes out just like that. Just like a normal sealed beam. Unplugger. All right, so this is where it gets a little bit different. Let's move over to the bench. So one of the main reasons that drew me to the Octane Lighting, you can see right there is their logo, is because these are glass. They're not plastic, so they're not going to fade like the plastic ones do. Because you can get plastic replacements, but these are glass housings. So just take your little rubber boot off. I think it's probably going to stay off, and I'll show you why later. Just unclip it, just like that. Don't touch the actual bulb on these if you want to hold on to it for later, but there's that blue tint bulb I was telling you about. Just going to open up the box here. There's all your instructions and whatnot, user manual and how to use it. And as usual, I'm just going to toss it to the side. I could use the gloves, but they don't fit my hands. But I'm not going to touch anything, and these aren't like the sealed beam anything. These are just like, well, you see, that's the LED portion of it. So real simple. There's tabs. There are hole slots on this thing. Then 3 tabs. They just go right in just like that. And then you can click it down with the little retainer. And that's as easy as it is to install these bulbs into your house. So these are the H4 conversion. I'll put a link, an Amazon link for these down in the description as well. So that's it for that. That bulb is ready to go in. And so one of the things about these is these have a cooling fan, internal cooling fan. So I think if I leave this boot on here, it might hinder the fan from working. So we're going to leave that off just to keep it so it won't overheat. As you see, they got 3 prongs just like the original. Just plug them in. Just that simple. And what did I do with the ring? Oh, left it out there. So when installing these rings, there's a little indentation right here. This is for the GMCs. And there's a spring that holds the light bucket in. And that groove goes towards that. So the spring is right here. I'm talking with a screw in my mouth. So the spring is like that area right there. So you know this goes in that area. And you just stick it up in there. These fit the original housings just like any other bulb would. I don't know how many of y'all are doing YouTube as well, but do you ever notice how the only time you ever bumble what you're doing is when you're trying to record it? There it goes. You know what I love about these old trucks? That's all metal. The surrounding rings are metal. Everything's metal. There's no plastic. All right, so that's the first one. So now, just on that alone, one bulb, we're going to turn it on and see what a difference it makes. So you got to remember, this is just one. Look at the difference. Low beams, high beams. Just look at the difference over here, how it's white and bright, kind of dull and yellow on that side. That's only one bulb, and that's lighting that up so good. So once we get the second bulb in there, let's think about how much better it's going to be at that point. Let's see if we can hear the fans. Oh yeah, you can. Listen. Get that microphone down there better. So that's the cooling fan I was telling you about. I think leaving that rubber boot on there make it probably not good for it. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these installed real quick. All right, so as you can see, the difference between the two, well, hopefully you can see, it's kind of hard to tell, well, yeah, you can kind of see. This one over here is really glowing, where this one's not so much. So yeah, there's definitely a huge difference. Let's do the last two. Just wanted to show you the fan that's inside on this. So this actually goes on the inside of the housing and blows out through these exhaust ports right there. And that way, that's why I'm not putting the rubber boot back on the outside, because that way it allows the air to escape to keep them cool. All right, it's time to see the real difference here. Wow, look at that. That is a huge difference. It's really hard, it doesn't come across camera real good, but we'll see it tonight, because right now it's like noonish or 2 o'clock or something like that. So after dark tonight, we'll go out and compare it from what this looked like at night to what the old lights look like, and now what these ones look like. So this is what you get with the stock headlights. Low beams, high beams. Low beams, and high beams. This is here what you get with the standard octane lighting upgrade. That's low beams, that's high beams. Low beams, high beams. All right, so here's with the new AUXITO LED headlights. There's your low beams, there's your high beams. Low and high. That's a pretty big difference. Well, now we got the lights done on here and we are good to go for nighttime driving. We need to make this thing driving better, because as you can see, look at all that mess down there from the fuel leaking. So we need to get this carburetor off here and get that fixed, because that ain't gonna fly too long. So let's get her done. I think we're gonna move it over there, because that way I can pull my wife's truck or her car back in here at night. So I think we might do that. Just move the truck over there for a long-term project. All right, so here we are again, pulling the carb off so we can actually build it, since we got the kit now. Let's try not to forget about this time and not cut this part down. So let's get the, see, we got vacuum line, You got a cotter pin right there. Pull that out, good on that. Get the kick down cable and the spring. Choke wire over here too, don't forget about that. So all the vacuums are disconnected. Brake booster. Maybe. Oh. Brake booster. Get that throttle linkage out of the way. Today's the first, I'd say, official day of summer here in Oklahoma. It is 92 degrees in here right now. There's that. And what's left is the mounting bolts. I should get a stud kit for this thing. I'll take the chance of stripping this the aluminum intake off too easily. So earlier, to convenience myself, because this has electric fuel pump on it in the tank back there, because this is actually a Vortec motor, it doesn't have a provision for a mechanical fuel pump. So got a relay right there, and I unplugged it so it stopped pumping fuel and let the truck run out. That way, when you go to work on the carburetor, it's empty. You don't have to worry about gas getting everywhere. I'm sure there'll still be some in there, but most of it will be gone. So washers, could be careful not to drop that bolt into the intake. There we go. There you go. So I'm going to get too in depth on rebuilding this carburetor. There's plenty of videos out there online for you to look at that you really want to get in depth on these. But I'm basically going to tear it apart, replace all these seals for the tubes, for the bowls, for the, what's that thing called? Power, not the power valve, the metering block. But once I get to the power valve, that's when I'll bring you in to show you that. But basically just got to loosen up these 4 bolts here, and that'll separate this all from here, from the front to the rear here, this tube, and then we can get to the power valve. So I do want to mention that, I did get the Holley rebuild kit for it, and I got this from CarQuest. I had to order it, but you just go off the carb number. There's numbers stamped on here someplace. I can't remember where it was at, somewhere on here. And they just take the numbers and they can cross-reference it and find it. But I remember when these things used to be less than 20 bucks. This kit was $46. And it was more expensive at like Summit. It's like 50-some dollars at Summit. So, yeah. Everything's so expensive now. Especially in this hobby. See, I told you there'd still be fuel in it, even though I let it run out. You gotta remember there's seals on each one of these bolts. So you just gotta be careful of that. And they're all replaceable, and they're all. We definitely got to replace too, because I think that's where it's leaking from. Is the accelerator pump diaphragm? So there's a couple in there. Usually there's 2 different choices, and well, this kit is directly for this carburetor, so should be all right. Looks like it's been actually in here. Somebody's been in here before because it's got the aftermarket gasket on it, the supposed reusable one. But yeah, anyways, next thing we got to do is get into the metering block here and see if we can see if this thing's been leaking or not. Okay, so what we're going to look for here is any kind of leak or fluid inside here. Get this gasket out of the way. So yeah, it's actually wet inside here, which it shouldn't be. So our power valve is obviously bad. So luckily we have a new one in here. Make sure it's the same one. This is a 6.5, 6.5. We should be good to go on that. So these things do actually have a special tool to remove them. I don't have it though, so I'm going to use a adjustable wrench. Another thing you got to worry about on these is these gaskets. When they split apart, people think that there's 2 gaskets. That's not the case. This should be one. You want to replace it, you want to make sure you have proper gaskets, because they do split apart. And this one's just tearing up right now. So yeah, so that's supposed to be one gasket, and it's right now it's two. See how that gasket's whole? I don't know if you can see it or not. So these gaskets always split apart. You want to make sure you have the whole thing. There's not two gaskets. A lot of people make that mistake and think there's two gaskets there and split them apart. Well, it won't work right. New power valve installed here. Torque it to spec right about there. There you have it, new power valve. Okay, so next thing we need to do is replace our accelerator pump. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go changing and mess with jets or anything. Everything else is working. It's just this leaking out of this accelerator pump, so it just needs to be replaced. That, and I'm pretty sure the power valve was messing up. If we still have issues after this, then we will address that later. Oh yes, that's crispy. Well, is there another one? It looks taller, but it might just be because it's this one's, oh yeah, this one's just sunken in. All right, so we're good on that. Get this thing installed. I don't know why, but I feel like I got this on backwards. Yeah, I do. So y'all get to enjoy my mistakes as well. I'm not going to hide the fact that I just put that on backwards. Just like anything on a carb, careful not to over torque. Just want to tighten until it's tight. You feel that resistance. Good to go. Well, I was filming stuff, but then it cut off. It got too warm. So hopefully my phone has cooled down enough now. But the carburetor's back on. Everything's hooked up. No throttle yet, but actually, let's go ahead and hook that up. Get the throttle at least hooked up. All right, now everything's hooked up. Let's go ahead and make sure the choke is working. Power on. Get some fuel up there. Big vacuum leak though. There we go. Right on. Fuel pressure is right around 5.5, which is fine. I don't see any fuel leaking from the bolt or the accelerator pump. And she's running pretty smooth, so I think we took care of the problem with that power valve. So far so good, no leaks that are noticeable right now. I'll come back and check again later on because it was leaking afterwards, so after it was not running. So if that happens, then I'll let you know. All right, so I came out this morning and there was a little puddle of fuel right back in here. So I don't know what, I was like, where's this coming from? Checked everything around where I replaced it, and the only place it was wet was up underneath the bowl right here. So I took that, I'm like, well, I just replaced the seal, because I didn't replace them. You know, they seemed like they were good. So went to pull the bolt out, and it was barely tight. So I don't know if I just didn't torque them enough yesterday when we put the bolt back on. Thought I had, but guess not. So went back through and replaced all the seals around the bolts and make sure I torqued them properly this time. And once it goes through a heat cycle or whatever, I'll go back through and retorque them. But other than that, this thing fires up nicely now. right up and nice and smooth. I don't know if I'm starting to lose valve seals or something. I didn't replace those when I put the motor in, but I don't know how many miles the motor actually had on it. It was pretty dirty inside. I'll probably do an engine flush here pretty soon because it's about time to do an oil change on it anyways. But I think for now, I think the carburetor should be fixed now. I'll give it some time today and make sure, but I think we'll be all right. All right, so it's been a few hours and there's no leak now, so there's nothing wet at all anywhere. So I think we're good to go on that now. Yeah, so that's going to do it for that one. That's going to do it for this video on getting those headlights replaced with the AUXITO LEDs, getting the carburetor to stop leaking, and so yeah, so getting the backup truck ready for the truck gathering as well, just in case we can't get that one finished. So if you like this video, leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better. Subscribe while you're at it. What the heck, it's free. Tell your friends, share my videos, do all that good stuff. And make sure you go over to auxito.com and get yourself some LED light bulbs and use code OGRE15 to get 50% off. So on that note, for everybody who's been here till the end, appreciate it. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.